in the studio as we speak. The man, the myth, the legend himself, DJ Cassidy. How you doing, bro?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. First time in San Diego? Because definitely wouldn't know that. I'd have to ask that question.
I believe I came to San Diego as a kid once with my father.
Okay.
And went to SeaWorld and all the various things, right? Those are all here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we did all those fun things. Probably when the movie Free Willy was out, so it was like a big deal to go to SeaWorld, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was, I'm like the biggest Michael Jackson fan ever. So the Free Willy movie was like an event for Michael Jackson fans, you know what I mean? Running like the River Jordan, you know the song?
Nice. I do. But...
So yes, I've been once. Only
nice.
once.
Well, welcome back to San Diego.
Thank you.
And, it's kind of cool because, just a few minutes ago, one of my partners, Joseph, had a chance to actually, show him the video because I actually didn't know it was out. We saw the making of on your website.
The making of Calling All Hearts.
Mm-hmm. Jesse J.
Yes, Robin Thicke and Jesse J.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about the making of the song, not to be confused with the behind the scenes of the video, which is also out. But I believe you're talking about the making of the actual song.
Right.
That shows how the song came together.
Well, it's kind of crazy because, knowing your age now, because I had to piece together, because your name has popped up over the years so many different times, and actually seeing you on a cutaway, it probably was the ABC News thing when it came to you doing that 2012, DNC.
Yes, the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah, so notably, you've been the DJ to the stars, now, hooking up with Barack Obama, and now this new venture with a new single and producing. So
I love how you put it, hooking up with Barack Obama.
Why not? I mean,
so
hell,
hooking up with Barack Obama.
I think if anybody could do that, maybe take a selfie or do the pound, I'm sure you can probably just pick up the phone and call, the kids and whatnot.
Well, I don't think many people can just pick up the phone and call, but
he's being humble.
But I do know him on a first name basis. But we'll get to all that.
Right. My man, DJ Cassidy in the studio. So talk about this single because there was Niles. There was the name Nile or Niles that kind of came up here. And my sisters are probably growing up at a time back in the 80s when they graduated high school. You were possibly born around that time, right?
Yeah, I was born in 81.
81, okay. And then Nile Rodgers.
Yes, Nile Rodgers of Chic.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know out there, and I'm sure many of you do, Nile Rodgers, most recently behind Daft Punk's hit record Get Lucky, is the man behind many, many hit records, many, many dance records that you know and love. We Are Family by Sister Sledge. I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. Good Times by Chic. Let's Dance by David Bowie. Like a Virgin and Material Girl by Madonna. Notorious by Duran Duran. The man is a legend, and he's one of the legendary musicians involved in my album.
And with that said though, because when we're looking at your history, you had said you started DJing at the age of 10.
At the age of 10. When I was 9 years old,
okay,
I asked my parents for 2 turntables and a mixer for my birthday.
Which you were surprised to get.
I was surprised to get. It was the greatest gift of my life. And at that point, DJ Cassidy was born.
Right.
I was a hip-hop kid, was watching the movies Breakin' and Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo at age 3 and 4, jumping up and down on the bed to Run DMC at age 5. And at age 10, when I became a DJ, I looked up to Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, and Grandmaster Flash.
Nice.
Who, for those of you who don't know, are really the 3 founding forefathers of hip-hop music, all from the South Bronx, and created this music by bringing their speakers and their equipment and their records out to the parks in the Bronx, and creating this new music by playing all kinds of music. Now, I should back up a minute. As a hip-hop kid at that age, I thought, like many of my friends thought, that to fully embrace hip-hop, you had to hate all other kinds of music.
Sure.
It actually made us closed-minded, and it was very ignorant, because what I learned by looking up to these 3 guys was that hip-hop was actually about bringing together all kinds of music.
Right.
And they were not playing hip-hop because there was no hip-hop. They were creating hip-hop by playing soul, funk, disco, rock and roll, reggae, Latin music, everything under the sun to create this new sound. Hip-hop was like this amazing hybrid of all genres of music. And I was fascinated by that. And that completely opened up my mind at a young age and made me want to be undefined as a DJ, unbound by genre, unbound by era, unbound by time. And it made me create this motto. I said, I want to be the DJ that would be able to play all music for all people all over the world. I say that a lot. It was my motto then, and it still is my motto today.
Yeah.
Now, by the time I was 18, I started to live that motto. I DJ'd everything I possibly could in high school, from the school carnivals and the talent shows and the homecoming parties, to eventually doing the hot nightclubs around town in New York City. And by the time I was 18, I was starting college at NYU, but I had a full career, and I was traveling the world. First to LA and Miami, and then to Europe, and then to Asia, and then to Australia, and then to Africa. And I had the privilege at that age, I had the opportunity at that age to start to DJ for some amazing people who we all love, who we all admire, who we listen to, who we look up to. And I started to DJ for Puffy, and then for Jennifer Lopez, and then for Jay-Z, and then for Beyonce, and then for Russell Simmons, and then for LL, and then for Mary, and then for Pharrell and Swizz and Alicia and Justin, and then Naomi Campbell and Anna Wintour and Oprah Winfrey. And like you mentioned, it all led to the President of the United States. I was the first DJ to ever play a presidential inauguration. I was the first DJ to ever play a Democratic National Convention, which you mentioned. And I was the first DJ to ever play at the White House. And all these experiences are important. I tell you about them. I make a point of telling you about my path, because all these experiences from age 10 to now as a DJ really led to the inspiration for my album. I found that no matter where I went in the world, no matter what city, country, or continent, whether I was playing for leaders of the hip-hop world, or leaders of the fashion world, or leaders of the free world, whether I was playing for your average guy at a hip-hop club in New York, or your average girl at a house music club in Saint-Tropez, no matter who was in front of me, no matter what they came expecting to hear, I began to see the soul music of the late 1970s and early 1980s as the greatest and most universal dance music of all time.
Sure.
No matter where I went, I found that the classic records of that era not only worked, but killed, and put a spirit and emotion and an energy in the air like no other kind of music.
Yeah.
And that music became a huge part of my career. It never became what I played every night, but sometimes I wished it was. This music took over your body like no other kind of music. It made you smile like no other kind of music, and it moved everyone's feet. It made everyone celebrate. It turned every party into a celebration. And I can't say that for all kinds of music, but this music was special. And all the leaders of culture that I've been known to DJ for, they call on me for one thing, and that's the one thing. And when young kids would sometimes ask me what I play at these parties, and I would explain it to them, sometimes they wouldn't quite understand. And I always wish that young people, that my generation, would have their own anthems of celebration that sound like this, that feel like this. Their own songs from their own artists that feel like this, that I not only could incorporate into that set of music, but that I could play in their own set of music, that there were enough of those. So 4 years ago, I set out on a mission to bring back the greatest and most universal dance music of all time, back to nightlife, back to the dance floor, and most importantly, back to the airwaves. And that's why we are here today.
Definitely. And it's kind of perfect timing, too, because when you have a Robin Thicke, I mean, just you've probably seen the videos, hear the music, the culture of the industry, probably in the last 2 years with Robin Thicke's music, and like kind of like a big band sound and whatnot. You know, it's reminiscent of, like you said, great times. When I'm listening and growing up with my sisters, I'm hearing, Rick James, Chic and all that stuff. And I'm probably like 10 years younger than them, but it is reminiscent. So you to me, it's like you found your own little niche. That's what I'm kind of thinking, that when it comes to party rock in a certain style, because hence why Barack would said, hey, I want you to play some feel-good music,
And that's really what it's all about. People often ask me how I define my DJ style, and I'm very hesitant to do such a thing. I've actually never recorded my DJing. There's no, there's no recordings of me at a nightclub or me at an event anywhere on my SoundCloud or my website. And I've made a point of that because no one night is representative of who I am.
Yeah.
I really have found a unique ability to cater to every crowd while still being DJ Cassidy. And there's a way that I shine through myself, the way I choose songs, what I choose, how I weave them together, and how I read a crowd that makes me me. But one thing I think that is a uniting factor is I like to play feel-good music, and I like to make every party a celebration. And what I've strived for with this music, and I'll explain to you how I made it in brief, but what I strive to do with this music on my album is I've strived to epitomize the sound of celebration. And celebration can be you driving in a car with the top down with your hands in the air. Celebration can be you lying on a beach feeling the sun burn on your face. Celebration can be you partying at a nightclub with another 2,000 people at 2 in the morning. Celebration can be at the White House, or celebration can be on a rooftop. It really can be anywhere and can be anyone, and I've strived to personify that with this music by bringing back the sound and feeling of this night.